We are Team Shenanigans, and this is our game, Operation Skyflare. It's a arcade-style dogfighting simulator.
Okay, we're going to kick it straight off by giving some gameplay. So just going to quickly boot that up now. And we'll talk to you a bit about... that's a bit loud, alright.
So here we've got the basic intro. I think we've got a bit of backstory to sort of flesh out our world, give you an actual reason for blowing each other up in planes above some city.
Alright, yeah, I'll skip through that just so you don't go through the entire thing. First thing I think we'll demo is the attract state, since it's kind of sort of natural next thing that's going to come up. So that should pop up in a few seconds.
Time to go.
There we go.
So this is just to show off our craft, give you an idea of what they're all about, and again flesh out our world just with a few little specs.
Yeah. Alright. Yeah, we won't make you sit through the entire thing, but it just loops through all of our vehicles and kind of gives a bit of history and give people a bit more about what they're flying. So yeah, you see the helicopters come in now, and kind of does the same sort of thing. I'll skip through that. So this is our menu system. The entire world is 3D in the background, so it's sort of a stock world it's loading up on the beginning, and then using, rather than having 2D assets, rather than having 2D assets for our menu. We've got a quick play option, some sort of options, so our music volume, sound effects, debug mode, but we'll show that in a minute. We'll go through the custom map sort of editor, so this is how we can edit our world. So you've got variables for sort of terrain height, sea height, water, and then size, trees, variable score limits, and we've got sort of normal and hardcore mode. And hardcore is kind of like, yes, everyone gets a lot of damage, so you can die really fast. Yeah, so I'll quickly put together a map. I'm feeling like a watery map today.
Make Atlantis.
Make Atlantis. Okay.
Try to make Atlantis.
And we don't want any trees this one. So confirm that, and then we get a choice of our ships, which is the Evo jet helicopter. I'll spawn in the jet. Start from the jet for now.
Little forking over.
Yes, our load screen, and then boom.
Flying animation, yeah. So I worked on the flight models for both the jet and the helicopter. It uses realistic, like physics-based flight model with actual forces in stuff. So gravity's constantly pulling down on you, and you've got to aim at the correct angle in order to get decent lift, which is 15 degrees.
Oh yeah, just turn the sound effects down.
Okay.
It's kind of loud. Alright.
So yeah, the jet is built for speeds and just get in, get out, kill stuff, whereas the helicopter is more built around manoeuvrability and kind of stealth in a way, but it can hide behind the hill. So they're both equipped with machine guns and missile systems, which we will demo more fully in a minute.
In our model there. If I jump into our sort of debug sort of camera mode, so we can show the world up a bit. So yeah, the visual style we feel is quite strong in this game, and we went for a cell shaded model with a diffuse lighting model, so you can see like certain faces of the jet here lit up, and you can see on the buildings. Currently, we turn the cell shading off on the city just because it's a multi-part shader, and a lot of geometry was kind of added at the last minute, so we didn't have time to properly optimize it. But essentially, it's 2 passes, and the first one draws the outline section on different color mode, and then we change the color mode, draw the model again at a slight offset, so we sort of get that nice black outline around it. The terrain also uses a sort of height to brightness kind of thing. So it starts with a base color, and based on the height of the terrain, it makes it lighter, so you get a nice smooth transition for the kind of rolling hills. Yeah, that's pretty much it for the world. It's all procedural, using like Perlin noise engine, so that's used for the terrain and also for the city distribution. You can see there's obvious areas of height and sort of transitions between nothing. Yeah. So if you guys want to
to keep our map size limited, we put a shield around the map, which also works with our story to give a little background. So it was a way of limiting the size of the map so you'd always be able to find your opponents without making the map too large or too unscalable. I worked on the trees, which are generated depending on the height variant of the terrain, and it pulls the noise data from the terrain generator, and you have the option to put them higher up mountains or lower down in the options menu. City?
Yeah. I was responsible for the procedural city generator. All the buildings are instanced, so that's to keep the frame rate low. Originally, they were all being drawn separately, which pretty much just made a huge job in our city. And with the bridges and tunnels not yet added, if there was an instance, we'd probably not even get this plane. Like Jack said, the city height, tunnels, bridges is all set up on the per with noise. What else is there?
The tunnels and bridges also provide more.
Yeah. It ends up making it more of an obstacle course to the city, so it allows more of a chasing of each other, more fun. Some of the tunnels end up intersecting as well, so some of them end up being sort of death traps. You fly in, it's a dead end, instant death, more or less. There's no way you can turn quick enough to get out. Also, bridges intersect through some of the tunnels, so you sort of have more challenging some tunnels where you sort of have to dodge the bridges as well.
With our jets, as you can see with fighting going on now, the trail coming out the back changes colour depending on the player's health. So when you spawn, you start out with green trail, full health, and as you take damage, it starts to decrease in colour, going through yellow to red until you finally explode.
Yeah, the idea behind that is so that we can keep the HUD clean, and we wanted as little information sort of just in the bottom right corner of the screen essentially, and that kind of adds an extra dynamic so that you can see other players' health as well without having to look at their screen. On your screen you can see, oh, that's a low health target, maybe I'll go for that. If you guys want to come over,
it's a good way to like step around the lack of a radar system,
and
also not need a radar system.
We'll just quickly demo the 4-player.
Don't worry, I'll just
Yeah, sorry about that. Okay. Start. Yeah.
So here we're going to see this new app.
Your right screen. And right.
So as you can see, the helicopter will hover when you're not doing anything, so it's a bit more easy to control than the jet, just because you don't have to deal with gravity pulling you down and murderizing you. And it can ascend and descend at will, but it can't move as fast horizontally as the jet, so it's not quite as good for running away.
One other thing that you may have seen it happening while we're shooting each other, to make the gameplay a little more forgiving, because originally we had no sort of logic on any of the bullets or missiles or anything. So we've now got a, and if we've got like an intersection between your reticule and the other players, then it gives a sort of homing logic to the missiles and the bullets. Not too much so that you can't get away, but enough so that it gives you a little bit of an assist so that you can actually hit people. And yeah, and they all have explosions on them when you hit people, when your bullets hit terrain and buildings, etc. And also when you die, there's explosions as crash into a building you'll be able to see now. No. So yeah, and I guess that's our demo. Really.
I'd say that's a decent amount of content.
Yeah, just in time for some questions.
We didn't really get through our slides.
Yeah, we do have slides.
Oh,
talking.
one last thing. There's also a debug mode that, like 7 billion wireframe, shows collision volumes.
Yes.
And I'll put it out.
Right, I would suggest you submit your slides if you didn't have a chance to go through. We'd much prefer a demo like this.
Can I just go through one quick thing?
Of course you can.
Oh, yes.
Because I thought it would take too long to go through the world generation, so I've just got up some quick slides. This is our world generation interface, and then just some. That's on a medium sort of settings, and then this is with really high terrain and a huge city, not much foliage, and then again quite a very watery map, low terrain, and a fair bit of foliage. So that's just examples of our terrain. But yeah, I'll let out slides now.
Hi guys, it's recording when you're ready.
We are Smack Gaming, and this is our. That's for you.
So here's our game, Wings of Awesome.
Apologies about the name. Okay, so we're going to show you multiplayer because 2 of the 3 modes are available to single player and it's the same in multiplayer. So there's a free fly mode which doesn't involve basically anything. It's just you fly around the map, you get creative with how the different craft fly. The first one we're going to show you is Capture First. This is our core mode. Do you want to talk about the map?
Yeah, this is the sort of map generation screen. So you have these 5 different values that you can use. The building density sort of increases the building density. Tree density is obvious. Peak height makes all the mountains higher, and sort of deep is lower. Water height increases the water height, and bridge chance is bridge chance. So they scale from sort of 1 to 10, sort of 5 of being the medium, and then you ramp all the way up. Okay, so we've got a choice of 3 different aircraft we can pick for the game. We've got our fast jet and jump jet, which are similar in execution, but one's a lot faster.
And the jump jet has the ability just to rise up vertically.
Yeah, and we've got a hovercopter, which has complete maneuverability of vertical.
Like complete lack of thrust.
Which I don't
And everyone has to select their vehicle.
Loading screens giving a demonstration of what you're meant to be doing.
Okay, so the point of this mode is to capture the monuments, which are these huge white buildings. To capture one, you have to be within the invisible capture box, at which point on your HUD it will display the capture bar when you want to start capturing. Yeah. As you start capturing, you can't see it there, but the colour of the monument starts to lerp towards the player colour. You can see that, so if it's partially captured, it'll be sort of pale blue if player 2 is capturing it. In order to capture a monument from another player, you first have to steal it, which clears the colour down to white, and then once you start capturing it, it will move it back up to your colour. The score works on the tick system, where every 10 seconds you get a point per monument. So you can see a partially captured monument there.
You should be able to notice that the 2 different aircraft handle quite differently. The fast jet has been made so that you can change the way that you're facing quite quickly, but your actual direction of movement is slower to respond. And the jump jets it handles quite slowly. Obviously, as the direction is changing, as your orientation is changing, it makes it a little bit easier to control. And then we'll show you the hovercopter when we go into 3-player.
We'll go into paint mode. 3 and 4 player with the viewports, it's effectively the same, but for a 3 player we put an extra camera in rather than give one player a large portion of the screen, so it's a bit fairer. So we're going to be showing 3 rather than 4 player. This mode originally started off as just a test for our capture mechanic, and we ended up keeping it in because we all quite liked it, and it looks visually better as it goes through. In this mode, the point is to literally fly near any building or standard building, and then you just tag it, like quite similar to sort of older games like Tony Hawk's Graffiti mode. And you get a point per building. You lose one when when someone else steals a building from you. And you can see just about the copter seat.
At the moment, we still need to I still need to balance how the hovercopter behaves in terms of forward flight, because a bit underpowered.
It's got some advantages in the capture mode because it can hang around in the kind of capture zone for a little bit longer.
Just picking it in paint is effectively throwing the game.
But for paint mode, it's kind of the worst.
Perhaps nerfed it a little bit too hard. That was initially.
So we've got most of the kind of sounds as well. There's maybe a capture sound here for the buildings as well. I'm not sure what that's called. But we've got the nice, done the shooting sounds, and we haven't quite got an engine sound working yet, which I was kind of playing about with the pitch shifting as well. We've got the nice shoot sound, and there's an explosion sound. There's a sound being hit, and all the Andy Step music's in there.
We've intentionally left it so that if you're shot, you die, because we didn't want help, because the focus is that you're meant to be capturing things, not holding things. So if you try and just circle a monument in capture mode, you're quite easy just to shoot down and then you lose it. So we want to encourage sort of mobility around the map.
Yeah, the map is all the buildings are sort of hardware instance as well as the trees as well. There are supposed to be bridges in this over all parts of the water between buildings, but the dynamic buffer seems to be not working with this graphics card. It was working on, we had issues with the arcade machine yesterday as well, but so yeah, they're all hardware instance.
There's one in there.
There we go.
There's one in there.
One, okay. So the bridge chances are quite low.
And that is, oh, do you want to show the track state?
Yeah.
Just put the controllers down. Yeah, it takes 15 seconds as requested. But we have two track states. We have one for the map and one for the gameplay, which is just a simple AI ship flying the map. I'm really hoping it should do. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, so this is the gameplay attract state where I've got an AI which is just flying around to two different waypoints on the map. It's actually kind of key to get it to move around because it couldn't really use the base sort of player classes because now uploaded they became later in development.
And this is a world preview of track state, which kind of every 10 seconds or so it iterates through like a different generation of the world.
Or it crashes.
I thought that was eco.
You should have just said that.
Yeah, done, yeah.
Yeah.
So every kind of 10 seconds of that track state, it kind of iterates through a different generation of the world with different random values on water height and building density, etc.
More questions then?
Yeah, I think so.
We are Tertiary Code with our game, which we haven't really thought the name of yet, so anyone has any ideas, feel free to offer them. But anyway, so just to quickly briefing the concepts and stuff, a 3D flying game, and sort of the unique styles, the art style, the paper art style, and the idea of a central wind park where players will sort of converge to, as a sort of central gameplay mechanic.
Right, so so we've gone for like an arcade battle game. As Luke said, we've got sort of cel-shaded visual style with the kind of paper aesthetic. So we've gone for the kind of origami style aircraft. We've got 1 to 4 player split screen, and there's a few modes to choose from. And sort of to add kind of like sort of modifiers to the game mechanics, there's different pickups, weapons and health and shields, and things like that that you can use to disrupt other players.
So just to quickly show you before and after sort of Christmas, we are showing it that was it before Christmas, till, and well, sorry, let's see it after Christmas. Sort of major changes, but we'll sort of show you them more in the demonstration. Right, there you go. This ident start screen. Actually, if I leave it for a few seconds, it will show you the quite simplistic track state. essentially, I sort of implemented it quite quickly. I wanted a little bit more time to put to it, but there's sort of other priorities and things to do. So it's something I do need some sort of come back to it for sort of time dependent. So essentially, the plane tries to follow the path, essentially by finding the nearest waypoint or vertically talk to it and sort of aiming towards it. It's a little jerkier than I'd like. It sort of needs to be a little bit more steering behaviour, but it sort of at least showcases the world and the general concept. Anyway, so you can press start. Well, if Dan wants to play it. So if Dan just chooses quick play, just this is an example of an instruction screen. So so we're using that as our loading screen to sort of force you to see what to do essentially. So if Dan plays. So this is probably best. We'll probably use this best to showcase our general game itself. Since obviously you've seen the changes to the landscape, it's now a lot more sort of varied to try and deliberately encourage players to a more confined space, and sort of to then fit in the central wind path as well. And then, yeah, so that's then you've got these wind gates now as well. So the idea being that these wind gates give you boosts, and the more boosts you can get, the better. And sort of you're trying to get to the end wind gate, and when you get to the end wind gate, you would get a bonus amount of points. And should you get there, the game actually ends. So hopefully, the majority of the time, if you actually manage to get to the end wind gate first, you should win. But there might be occasions where you might want to try and prevent someone getting to the end in order to ensure you can win in the time allotted. Anyway, so that just shows you multiplayer. So Dan now goes back to the custom game. I'll show you the train generation. So you've got different, well, we sort of combined the game modes and environment creation into one screen. We've got a little preview in the bottom right corner. So you can change the various game modes, and you can change the various, the various environment factors. So Dan sort of tweaks a few things and chooses what he fancies, and then creates a map, regenerates the landscape with some of your changes, and then if you go to the player lobby, you can then, depending on the game type, it changes to allow more or less users. So should we try a multiplayer game? Perhaps we should go back and try a multiplayer game. So you go into player lobby. If Joe and Mac Josh and Matt, Josh and Matt come over and pick a lane and decide what to do. You've got 4 different plane types. Well, 3, and sort of we did plan one more, but it's doubtful we're going to get it in time. So for now, there's sort of placeholder there. So once everyone's happy. The game loads again, sort of showing you instruction screen, and that didn't work. That's a bit odd. Right, okay. There is multiplayer, but yeah, maybe try a different unprepared path. Oh yeah, try the debug might do it well actually. And there you go. Right, so yeah, now we've got obviously multiple players on the screen. You can essentially, obviously you should hope now we sort of compete against one another to try and ensure you get to the end part first. So actually, player 1, all players are the sort of smaller plane type now. In the sort of single player, sort of the medium one. The smaller plane is a lot more nimble. It will sort of bank and move and sort of dive quicker. We do have 1 or 2 problems we have noticed with the quad tree, which explains why sometimes the bottom sort of vanishes, but we do sort of know why that is, and but what we wanted to implement has changed by the performance implication, and thought it was better to sort of show you a high frame rate we can address that. But yeah, so essentially that's, I think,
Okay guys, when you're ready.
We are Team Goa. This is our game Bitwing, and demo the game right away.
Sorry, just turn the volume.
So this is kind of our track state at the minute. If you leave it for 15 seconds, all the stuff goes away and just focus on what happens with the camera panning across the screen that's pre-generated. Let it go. So this is the main menu, and we've got options to quick play, normal play, visit options, and goes to control. So you can change the sound, you can change the. I don't know, that's kind of good.
Yeah.
Go back. Go to controls. We've got a control map out for you, so you know how to play the game. If it's on the arcade machine, it'll show the controls for the arcade machine as well.
Quick play and play are mildly different because quick play skips the terrain generation. It's just meant for literally getting into the game as quick as possible.
We've got 3 game modes, 2 of which are just the same. We've got just one's a team deathmatch as opposed to a normal one. King of the Hill is our main game mode, and that's the one we're going to showcase in a minute. It's the vehicle selection screen. So you can pick your color, and you pick your current vehicle. We have 3 vehicles with 3 different flight models. The helicopter flies like a helicopter. The jet flies, it's very fast, but it's difficult to maneuver, and the VTOL is a mixture of both, and you can switch between them.
This is the terrain selection screen. We decided to have, rather than a scroll bar, to have like little bits that you can select so you can make it more precise to what you want.
Yeah, we thought that by having this it would fit our theme, which is a digital theme, where everyone else has sliders, so we're trying to be a little bit different.
There are some situations where you might want no water, so you get no water, or a lot of water and you get a lot. So it's really customizable. You can auto-assign it if you can't be bothered.
But with this system, we don't have a seed, so you can't see the environment. But there is a seed within the game itself, but it's not accessible to the player.
If we wanted to, we could make it so you can see if you did like a particular map, for example. So loading screen loads during asset creation. This is the preview of the terrain that's currently generated, and it pans around it. If you're happy with it, you can confirm and go into it, otherwise you can go back and regenerate a new one.
In the terrain that you just saw there, you can see that there wasn't much water selected, but there were a lot of buildings. The terrain is using multi-rigid fractal to form it, and it's also using Polar noise. The buildings that you can see, they're also using Polar noise placement, so there's more central districts and some smaller districts as well.
The black diamonds you can see on the platform are supposed to be power-ups, but unfortunately their effects don't want to actually attach to them and cause errors, so they can take them out now. But generally the power-ups are either to recover ammo or health, or to augment gameplay, like giving you infinite boost, or changing the hill, or chaos boost, which boosts everyone uncontrollably apart from you.
As you might be able to tell, the primary hill is the hill with giant glowing light on it. The idea is to try and land on it in order to capture it. This shows our landing and takeoff mechanic, where you can land on the platform, you can try and get onto it.
See, the vehicles use like physics, so there's a lot of rotation physics, thrust, lift, gravity, everything, drag, everything's in there. So it can be quite tricky to fly at times. But the main aim of our game is not a shoot 'em up like some other games. It's to land on the platform to capture the king, to become the king of the hill.
We have implemented shooting and missiles, however, so you can put each other if you so choose.
We also have a first-person HUD which is designed to help with the landing. It shows the altitude, the entry power, your current velocity. Current velocity is on the left, altitude in the top right, and engine power in the bottom left. So as you can see, I'm decelerating, it decreases.
So I've finally captured the hill, and it changes the fog to the player of the owner of the hill, and also it has an icon here, which you players can see to know that they're the king. Players that aren't the king can see there's an icon above the player, which isn't billboarded yet, but it would be. If you kill the player who is the king, then they will lose control of the hill, and then the new player can then capture the hill and do whatever.
Also, you can see a crown above the player's head when in closer proximity.
If you can get a lock-on on an enemy player, you can launch a missile just homing. This makes it so that it's easier to kill people because the shooting mechanic uses ray tracing, which means it just fires straight in front of you, and it can be a bit difficult to hit, especially if your player's moving around. After the timeout, it shows the player who's got the highest score and the winner and the scores, so you can go back to the main menu and play again.
This is our division of work. So yeah, this is our division of work. As you can see, I worked in the physics, collisions with map, missiles, and firing, and the first-person HUD, and everything to do with physics and collisions. So those are subsections as well. Raymond worked on the menu screens, gameplay mechanics, and yeah, you can read it, guys.
I think it's important to note that as a team, we worked on a lot of it together. So whereas one person might have worked mainly on something, everyone else has contributed.
Guys, complete silence. Oh, these guys are just arriving back. Complete silence, and the floor is yours.
Okay. So we are Puri Gumbo, and this is Hybrid Sky.
This is our track state at the moment.
Draw you in.
Okay.
Look at the start menu. We'll press start to play. So we've got single player, which is basically you can fly around and enjoy the level. So we'll show you two player because obviously that's more exciting. So we'll jump straight in. We've got the map editor. Tom, explain the.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
You can see the map down at the bottom there. That is, like, if you were to jump in now, that's the map you play. If I just generate another one, you can see it just updates straight away. You can change what type of islands you have, you can have a load of mountains, how big it's going to be, how many islands you want. Vibrancy, this is some clever things the guys put in. If we crank that up, you might be able to see it here. You can see like all the colours get really, really bright and vibrant. We'll leave that down. Sometimes we get cloud appearance, but there we go. Should we jump in there?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so the level is made up of all these floating islands. They're all procedurally generated. There are two different shapes. There's the bowl-shaped island, which kind of look like a half lemon, and then there's the spire-shaped islands, and there's all kinds of variants in between. We actually changed the generation so that you can set exactly what curve you want on the island, and so it's a much more controllable generation than you've seen before. The market.
Yeah. So yeah, Tom and Mike are just kind of flying.
Just flying about. You might have seen sometimes we get little targeting. There you go. On the bottom of the screen there, you can see because one of our problems that we had when we play tested it with, like before Christmas or whatever. There's our explosion. That was nice. Was that we found it really difficult to find the other players because obviously we're so tiny in such a big world. You'd be flying around for half an hour, you'd never see anyone. So we put these just big old boxes that show you where the other person is, just to help it the mini map down in the corner as well, just to help you locate the other player and kill them.
Yeah, so one of our kind of unique selling points is that instead of having to pick your vehicle at the beginning of the game, you can transform on the fly. And that was a bitch. So yeah, but it works. It kind of works from any angle. Well, not all the angles. There's a few still missing. Most angles it hits. But it's got some kind of impressive animations going on to switch between the vehicles. And the point is, you can sometimes use it to evade. Sometimes you can use it to kind of sneak up, not really sneak up, but kind of pull the wool over your eyes on your enemies. And it does some pretty cool things, yeah.
But we use the two models, so you've got the helicopter, which is able to more accurately target the other player, while the plane is very good for flybys and very precise maneuverability.
Do you want to talk about the lights for a bit, though?
Yeah, okay. The shader's a deferred shader. It's the same one we used for our post-production, and it's able to have any number of lights, or almost any number of point lights in the scene that we want. So we're able to have point lights, which you can't really see very clearly, but there's a point light above every single island, just to kind of highlight the top. And then there's the overall directional light, which is actually coming from the point of view of the sun. And we do have code in there which you're able to change the time of day. It's not, you can't do it from the menu at the moment, but that's one of the main things we would add in. And it does kind of change the sky color, moves the sun around, and changes the global direction of light, as well as the strength of that light. We do have, our theme that we wanted to go for was a kind of mirror's edge style. So for that we have high dynamic range textures for the lighting, and we do have color bloom on there as well to kind of get that vibrancy that we've got. The vibrancy value that you saw in that Tom mentioned in the menu is the ambient shader, and if you kick it up, it makes it more a sort of a very soft image. If you turn it down, then the lights become very harsh, and it's kind of more control that we wanted to give to the user.
One of the things we wanted to get with the level, the theme we kind of wanted to go for was Han Solo flying through the asteroid field, which I'm sure you all know. I think we pulled that off right. We've got UCs here, like these little strings of debris flying through the space, because I mean, if you're just flying around in open air, there's nothing to avoid, it's a bit boring. So we've got things like that. The islands all move around. They move around on different forces now, don't they, Guy?
Yeah, so what we wanted to have, if we had more time, what we'd do is we'd include physical reactions between all of the islands and between the debris as well. And to kind of lay the groundwork for that, all the islands do actually move on a centrifugal force. And when the level starts, they're all kicked around to move around in a certain motion. But we didn't have time to implement the physics behind it.
Talk about sounds? Yeah. Talk about sounds. Well, I did all the sounds before the game, so it's a lot of just sort of finding good sounds, good quality from the libraries and from online sort of free websites. Using Exact, just basically whacked all the sounds, and then it was just easy to just add them to whatever we wanted them, when we wanted them to play. Yeah, so we've got ones for like shooting, we've got colliding with objects, we've got explosions, we've got alarms when you're up and over reloads, when you go out of bounds, transforming sounds, a bit subtle, but kind of hear sort of mechanically sort of swoosh sound when we transform. Yeah, I think it's pretty much all sounds, and then the anti-step, of course, obviously. Yeah, and there's also, we've got the menu, so you can count the score if you want, and then there's also UR. And then we also have controls for...
Just in case you forget while you're flying.
So, yeah, that's the basic control set, like many other things. Yeah, and then if you want, you can go back.
Mike, can you knock up the full screen, single player, we want to see it?
Sorry?
Big screen.
Big screen.
Okay.
Big screen.
That's it.
Yeah, hope so.
There's
Basically.
we didn't really know what to do with single player, so there isn't an aim to it, which is a bit of a shame.
It's just kind of what we've used though. It's much easier to figure out everything from single player.
Line, play it out and just have fun.
If we'd had more time, then we probably would have included some kind of simple bot AI, any kind of dummies that would fly around, just to give you something to target and play with while you're in the level.
We've got little partner systems with explosions as well, which I did, so can't really do it in a single player. Yeah, but I'll try and show you another.
Can you at least show the water wall?
Yeah, I'll try and remember where it was.
One on the island that's not moving.
Okay. There it is.
Yeah, so just sort of some cool little things to have on some of it. Yeah. Give it a little close up of the George's water. Yeah, just basically lots of little triangles that are drawn, new colours. Yeah, just beautiful.
That's everything.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
You want to stop it?
Yeah.
Quick.
Is that your way of saying it's time for questions?
Well, yeah.
Could be, yeah.
Hello, we are Team BRB. I'm Lee.
I'm Jay.
I'm Dan.
And I'm Simon.
And yeah, this is our game, Downforce.
Okay, so when it starts, you have a track state, and it's got procedure generation of the level. It's tile based. It basically generates a tile grid, and then procedurally generates parallel noise over the top of it, and then places the buildings and the rivers and everything else afterward. So our main menu's got single player and multiplayer, options and exit obviously. If you go into single player mode, we've got character selection and vehicle selection, and we've got a jet, helicopter, bomber and kind of pod shit. So choose a hawk jet. We get to the procedure generation lobby, where you can edit the map. So you can't really see it because of the clouds. You change the amount of bridges, start of the river, and the ratio of each zone. Yeah, so what you see here is what you'll get in the game.
It's dependent on the size of the actual ground as to how many buildings are going to spawn on it. So for instance, you don't see so much grey, so not as many buildings are going to spawn. Do you want to jump in, guys? Yeah. To a really small map?
Yes.
You might want to jump out and make them watch. Anyway, this is our single player. This is not fully implemented radar. The shader is their toon shader, which basically prints the model on a slight offset and prints it again on top of it to create a black outline. We've attempted some cell shading so that the directional that actually changes the gradient of the colour across the texture, as it were, but it doesn't work properly for every angle of all the texture. So like each face of the ship actually has its own separate values for some reason. The particle effects coming out the rear of the ship are used with the DPSF engine. The left-hand side of the wing is to represent the health of the character. So it'll be green and it will eventually fade to red if you're going to die. The right-hand side will represent the power-up or special weapons. And that will fade to green if you pick up a power-up, which is not implemented at the moment, unfortunately. And the rear of the ship is to represent the team colour you're on, but which is also not implemented, so it stays blue for no matter which character you are. We were going for sort of a death bowl, sort of team death match or just normal death match, where you're sort of confined to the bowl and forced to kill each other. Basically, yeah. FPS count on the top. Do you want to show the wireframe? Yeah, slash debug. This is it wireframe mode on that. We've got a river going through the centre of the map, just sort of a line either side of the map, and it's implemented properly. I don't know if it shows on this map or not. Down the bridges.
Bridge generator on the map.
Yeah, it gives you the option to have more bridges as well. And the bridge, depending on how many you choose, will spawn through the centre lake. Do you want to start showing what that? Yeah. The top, by the way, the little graphic at the top is supposed to house your power up when you pick one up, and we were going to go for a sort of Super Mario where you pick up a thing and it sort of randomises. These two are going to attempt to kill each other now to show our destruction, where you clip the wings off the character and they fall towards the floor. With yeah, they have no choice in the matter really. They just bomb towards the floor and die because they've obviously got no wings and can't really have no self-control over their ship. What else is there? We have a helicopter slash, I suppose you wouldn't call it a helicopter, sort of like the others. We've got a floating pod ship, which is supposed to implement sort of two jets, sort of launching it off the floor rather than a helicopter keeping it in the air. Yes.
All the specific control that you see is based on the physics engine that has been applied. Essentially, it's rather the physics engine. I will admit, is quite simple. A combination of gravity, lift, and a tendency for the craft to pull its velocity towards the direction it's facing. So there is also an opportunity. You can see while there's turning around, when they make tight corners, there is some time after the corner where they are actually swooping low. So occasions where the craft can, well, takes the time to adjust to the direction it's pointing.
Yeah, if you fly out of bounds, which should be a lot closer than that, admittedly, so you don't so much see over the outside of the map. But I'm pretty sure that's what we have to show.
Yeah, we've only really got standard deathmatch because we were going to have like team-based games if we didn't make it run to implement it at the end.
Right. Yeah, we'll go on to the presentation.
Hi guys, ready when you are?
Hello, we're Glacial Studios and this is our game Ring Rage. We're going to now play the demo and proceed to start with the single player with AI components in it.
Yeah, okay, so I just talk quickly about the visual style. Like, our track state is basically just a demo version of the world with the AI flying around and just flying around the behaviour they've got. And we've got a full custom menu that allows you to pick like all the different options, and then mainly the mainly like the reason for a bit more of a comprehensive menu is just because of the networking. So we had to have the host and a joining host, and then we can go from there. So we're gonna show you the one player and AI system when this is loaded. The item. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So yeah, custom game, and then local game, and then confirm. Okay. So this is the terrain generation. It's just a 2D visual representation because obviously ours is inside of a spherical world. So the terrain map that it would generate would be useful, but it's hard to visualize that in a spherical world. So we tended to just use this 2D version, and it allows you to manipulate every variable, such as the city, amount of water, amount of bridges, amount of trees, and the amount of peaks. You can just switch them up, and it generates that.
You've got a aircraft selection menu, so you've got a choice of 8 different aircraft, 2 helicopters at the end, and 6 other ships. You've got a little model viewer and stats, and you can change the outside colour of your ship. So you'll be either team pink or team green. So we just fly into the world, pass over to someone to talk about the world.
Yeah, I'm here for world. So essentially, when the random terrain map is created, it's mapped around the sphere using latitude and longitude coordinates to be able to wrap in successfully around it. And the same is a reverse lookup system which is used for the collision with the ground. It takes your latitude, longitude coordinate and checks back against what the height map data will be. As well as that, we've got portions of the map where it creates plateaus for the cities to be created, which are variable size and feature random placement buildings and bridges and pieces like that.
Yeah, and we got a turret system on top of the cities that, so you've got opposing cities, so that it will shoot at the opposing team when they're inside the city. We've got, if you want to talk about the trees, James?
Yeah, we have trees that are generated. I believe they're based on also the terrain as well. They use latitude where they're put on the coordinates. They are hardware instances like the building, so we can have a number of them in there without it really affecting the frame rate at all.
Yeah, and so it's just going to spawn some AI into the world. All right, so it'll spawn members from each team, and they'll do battle at specific points. If Matt wants to talk about
Yeah, for our AI, we added in a waypoint system to guide the AIs. Whilst they can spot each other and fly and attack each other, and also keep the battles dynamic around the world, we've got certain points of interest in the map that they'll fly towards, which creates the conflict where the 2 teams will collide and meet each other in the middle. As well as that, when the AI kill each other and get points, they merge into squads so that they stick together, and you get clusters of them which will react to different targets and also just break off formation when they're in combat and then regroup afterwards.
We've got a power-up system as well that's situated in the middle and spawn, and they've got a various combination of power-ups you can gain, just from life to rapid fire to shield to invisibility, and they all do different things that help aid the player. And this is the helicopter model as well, which has a different characteristics than the jet, obviously, and it is much better at combat in some instances because you can just fly up and down inside the city and use that to camouflage your placement.
Down the bottom you can see we've got scoring, so the furthest right 3 show your individual score, so you've got a score which is based on a calculation between your deaths and the amount of people that you've killed, and then the other 2 on the left, the Team 1 and Team 2 score. With Matt's AI, as he said, they focus on certain waypoints, and what he's done is created sort of bases where you have to stay in them for a certain amount of time to capture that base, and it will then move. And the amount that you have captured at once sort of combines to make your team score as well, which just, as he says, adds another dynamic to the AI, and it also gives you some other objective other than just killing people. It means you've got to evade being shot when you're trying to capture these points as well.
Okay, it's also worth pointing out that for the visual style, we've kept it very neon-y and high-tech looking. But as well as that, with our shaders, we added in very recently a day-night cycle to be able to show off different shader styles that can be used to make the world look much more interesting. So it'll cycle between light and dark to show off the highlight of buildings and trees, as well as changing the colour of the texture. So we've got a firewall and ice wall in there just to make it a bit more interesting.
The plan is also to link those in with the campaign mode, where you'll have to progress through certain different stages which are based on a theme. Maybe it's a world that is made of lava or something. It was basically that sort of idea, but we just incorporated it into the one just to show it off.
It also helps with the battle system, where when it goes to dark, it's quite easy to see all the neon lights of the green team and the pink team, and it helps sort of the combat. You can see it quite a lot. if you can look at. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, so we initially, when we proposed to make this game, one of the two things that we really wanted to do, apart from the Sphere world, was network play, which we've managed to achieve. And you can see currently, I think Jack's playing it on the projector over there, and we've got several computers in front of you as well, which are all basically, it creates a network session which players can then join. You enter into a lobby state, and while you're in the lobby state, the host's choice for the terrain generation, the parameters are sent across the network, and then it triggers everyone to go through to the character selection, during which they use those values to generate the world. And then when you go in, you can basically dogfight. It's just purely how many people you can kill. I think that's it. There was going to be AI across the network, and I think it might slightly work, but we didn't exactly have enough time to get it perfectly working. So there's also sort of optimization. Instead of sending data constantly across the network, everyone is out of sync with when they send their update data to each other, so that you don't get floods of packets across the network. It attempts to optimize as much as possible. Which is why you will notice slight jitter on those screens when you get close to other players, but it's not really that noticeable, particularly when you're further away. Yeah, I think that's it for networking. So we're going to show you 2 players.
Hence, we've got a drop-in system for the networking, the multiplayer, sorry, which allows 2 players to either be on the same team or to fight against each other. And you're a red team, I'm a blue. Again, use a similar system for creating the world and randomising it. But when you're playing against the other team, you're playing 5 pictures. We've got names over the players, you'll be able to see them easily along the distance, as well as a targeting reticle system, which also applies to the AI to highlight the ships as you can see them. And it allows us to have homing bullets as well, so that it makes simple gameplay a lot easier to jump in and just start playing with a little bit of assistance with bullets doing some of the work for you.
Yeah, I mean, to add to that, like when they say homing, like they home within a certain distance around the reticle, so that it's not a ridiculous home. It's only a very short little bit to help home in, like just help the attacker.
A big that you notice, that's something that was said to us when we did the first gameplay demo. Lots of people said it was difficult to find and shoot people because it's in a sphere and because you have to be completely accurate. So I think that's something we developed fairly late on, but works really well, particularly when you've got a group of AI that you are shooting at. It helps you pick them off, and it just makes it more fun to play.
The turret system that are on the cities, they are destructible, so like as you can see at the top of the screen, you're shooting at the turret, yeah, basically they are quite hard to destroy because obviously they're meant to be defending the city, so that's one of the characteristics with that. We've got a life bar on the crosshair, which goes up and down, and you've got
that's split screen. Do you want to talk about campaign mode?
Yeah, if you get the videos, I don't know which one's which, but I'll talk about. They're in the just that one's click that one. So basically, we made a tutorial mode which is scripted, and basically it just shows how to actually play the game with movement. It spawns you into the world where there's no AI or any threats. It allows you to move, practice shooting, gain power-ups, and then in the end it spawns some AI to shoot, and you only have to kill 1 or 2, and then it allows you to exit out, or you can just keep playing just to build up your skill level, basically.
This is part of the, did we say this is part of the sort of campaign mode?
Yeah.
This is the first level that you kind of go into, so you get used to it.
Yeah, so it's like a single player mode that allows you to just, it builds up basically to a final boss battle. So I don't know if you want to just, oh, it's alright actually. So yeah, it gives you some AI just to shoot at. They've got really low health. They have no shooting ability, and yeah, so they're just basically targets basically to shoot at. But yeah, if you want to exit out that button, and then we'll show you. So basically, we want to script like a sort of epic final boss battle. So yeah, it's basically just a big sphere that you've got to shoot all the turrets on, and it's got like a bullet storm effect, but you've got much more health. So it was just an exercise to just get the script in, sort of there. But yeah, it was quite a fun, interesting thing to do. But once you've killed all the turrets, the shield goes down, and you've got to fly through the center of the world and kill the power crystal at the center. But if you fast forward a little bit, because he's basically going around and killing the turrets. There's a life bar at the top, and when it gets low, yeah, it starts, it's got low health. And we've got to find the last one. It's around here somewhere. Oh, I think he died. Oh, there he is, right. So you've done that, shield down, there's the entrance, the door is open, and it allows you to fly in. There's turrets inside, and you've got to shoot the crystal and get to the end, and then mission complete. Yeah, mission complete. So yeah, it was just an idea to script a story into it, basically, to have a one-player capability.
Yeah.
Flesh that out.
Are you ready? Hey everyone, we're coding Blitzkrieg, and this is our game, Phase Drive. So as you can see here, this is one of our 2 attract states that we have. The first one sort of just creates a camera that will pan around the map, just to show you an example. And then the second one, which we'll put in a second, shows the different ways that the map can be generated. So we'll go in the heights will change, the different amount of water will change. And it sort of gives an example of what you can do in our level editor. The camera's not in a great place there. But it is changing.
It's on the list.
Behind you. There we go.
So you can see the height range of each maze is changing. The camera was on the crazy position there, but alright, so. Here's our options menu, so we've got the ability to change the sound effects, and you can also refine the keys using the 360 pad, and you have the option to do invert controls as well. We had a lot of complaints from everyone saying they hated our controls, so they wanted it inverted. So we also have a help screen which sort of gives a list of all the specific different power-ups we have in the game, and in the top right-hand corner we have the 360 pad with the layout. That's the default buttons before you refine.
Should we put up the sound?
Alright, so we'll start again. Okay, so we've got 2 different modes. We have a dogfight mode, which is just about killing each other, and we have a domination mode, which is all sort of capturing points. So we'll play that, and then I'll let Dave explain that in a second.
Here's all the settings you can change for this particular game mode. You can change the roughness of the level, which will change real time on the map. The level size, how big the world is, which something is bigger, the size of your buildings, the number of gun turrets, the number of bots flying around the world. Currently the bots isn't completely implemented, it's nearly done, in the future that will work, and you can turn on and off friendly fire if you want to kill your friends. And the button randomise will change the seed of the world into different designs.
So it will maintain the settings we keep, just giving you seed to the map.
In the future, because of the feedback already on the presentations, we could remember the seed in the future. This game mode, we can pick, first you can pick all the different planes you can have, each one has different stats, it has different secondary weapons. Not all the secondary weapons have been implemented yet, that we've done. And the idea of the game mode is to collect those rings, and if you collect rings, you eventually start taking the points off the other teammate who haven't collected the rings. So whoever has the majority of the rings will actually not lose the points. And as you collect the points, they get locked down for a period of time, so you can't just take them and loot, you have to find somewhere else. And if you eventually, when the score runs out, the game mode will be over. There's a number of power-ups in the game mode which affects the overall how the game runs. There's the simple heal your plane,
boost your speed, boost your bullet damage, lock down all the power-ups. Lots of things. An EMP, which stops all the planes actively moving, so they just fall out of the sky for a short period of time. So if you're near the floor and you will die. And that mode is only available on 2 players because you don't want to just collect your rings and all by yourself.
We have 10. I'm sure you've got the
There we
same
go.
what actually works this time.
So we've got 2 different flight models. We've got the fighter and the bomber, which have normal plane momentum to thrust makes them go forward. There's a lightweight physics, so lift, the faster they go, the more lift they'll produce, and gravity pulls them down. There's air resistance, stop them from reaching, going on forever. With the helicopter and VTOL, their thrust actually puts them up and down. So if you go forward, you have to change your angle. Maybe deaccelerate, slow down, and fall to the ground. The VTOL at the moment, we want to implement it so we can change between the 2. Obviously, the VTOL can do, go up and down, as well as act as a plane.
Let's quickly finish out this game. It's not going going on, and then we'll boot up again and show you the gun turrets we have and our unique phase driving cannon, which is to avoid collision detection. We need to start saving everything. So we've got a number of gun turrets to 5.
So if you fly towards the city centre, the gun turrets spawn randomly on certain buildings on top of them, based on the number of turrets you've actually set to be spawned. What they do is they choose an aeroplane to target and predict where it will be in the future based on its current speed. So hopefully it will hit you, if you stay in a straight line, it should keep hitting you.
Currently we actually haven't modeled for this yet, but the bullets are being fired from where they'll be when we put the model in. Well, we haven't actually got that in yet. So I can use my unique phase driving camera here, so I can actually phase out and block all the collisions and turn them over to wireframe, meaning I can flip through the floor. Not that it runs out of power. Show me the top left corner there.
Obviously, they're not completely invulnerable. If he goes in phase right and I'm chasing him, I can in phase as well, and my bullets are in that same phase, so I can still hit him. Try and find those.
Put in a tip, so when you go under the water in a map, it will change the well to a little more blue. But we want to make it so that when you go inside the water, gravity is increased, so that it drags you down. But we won't put that in. Transparency is really good for the clouds, but that has the same effect.
If you fly out to the horizon, it's not in. It doesn't like kill you, it doesn't say turn back now, kill you, you fly across and eventually you end up on the other side of the world. So it's like the world is really small, so you just can keep looping around the world. Eventually. There are slight problems where if you are chasing someone, he'll flip back to the other side because it's just based off your position. So you see no one and then you flip back. In the future, you'll be able to see him even though he's technically on the other side of the world. So you just come back over yourself. It stops the world being closed into like a bubble or a dome. It gives it like more of an open field, even though you are technically constrained.
In terms of what we each sort of, although we worked as a main team on pretty much everything, we each had our own sort of parts we worked on, sort of the majority. So mine was the map and the buildings, the rivers and the ocean.
Oh yeah, so I did the main flight mechanics, the shooting of individual aircraft and the gun turrets, cameras,
I did all the particle effects, the 2D graphics, the GUI, the game modes. I've also worked on level gen way back in the past, but that movie wasn't very good.
I worked on the early physics and most of the shader effects, so what contributes to the phase drive effect, and other effects. So like when you go under the water, the land has a wave effect applied to it, so it looks a bit same as when you press phase drive as well. The land also has a wave effect. So it'll give you a feel of being underwater or a feel of gravity effect. The clouds in the buildings are a hardware instance, and the map type instance as well to try to
You've got any questions for us?
Currently the blue lights turn up a bit too high because some of the
You guys. Hello, we are the Code Gangsters, and this is TriSpace.
You're living up to the billing.
That's my good line I made.
Okay, so first thing to note is this is the world. Our games are sort of centric around it, as most games are. So yeah, here we've based our world on a geodesic sphere. It's got 20 sides, and we generate random sides to various different tiles. So we've got like water tiles, land tiles, we've got cities in there somewhere, we can't see them at the moment. We have monuments as well, and sort of unique tiles like towers and monuments. Sometimes it generates virtually nothing. This is our second track screen. You sort of see it's sort of generating on, getting on with it. We've tried to keep close with the original spec, keeping it sort of as low poly looking as possible and sort of sharp and edgy, and I think we've sort of achieved that.
So I built the beautiful menu systems. We've got controls, they're the wrong controls. Let's put the text to it. We've got video settings, audio, just change the music. Yeah, and then this is the pre-game. You can either jump straight to a quick one where it's 2 players, split screen. You can go into custom settings where you change the duration you want, score limit, traditional stuff. Add players to the game, so this is if you want to start as multiplayer one. Which is worth noting, the planet that you see in the menus, that is the planet you're going to be playing on. So if you want a new one, you go into the generate planet thing, and this lets you increase the probability of the different main tiles, the big tiles with the various things on. You don't want too many because quite a little warning on the side. This is the rates that you do. But yeah, it generates. It takes a little bit of time. Those are some beautiful mountains on there. And yeah, if I just jump into this is split screen. I don't know why that happens on Triforce in the sky, but it does.
Something to do with our aspect ratio, maybe. It's a bit of a recent and unusual bug.
So I built the main light mechanics, cameras, the main engine, the killing, the combat, the targeting, and that jazz.
We also have a pretty basic card here. It just shows both player scores. Whenever say Joe was to kill me, his player 1, his player 1 score can go up to 1 and he'll return gold because he's in the lead. And we also got the health at the bottom left of each of the screens. As well as having split screen, we wanted to implement a networking system into the game, which I was left in charge of, but unfortunately I didn't actually probably implement it onto the game. So
when you kill somebody, I wanted a big sort of. When you play Call of Duty, you get lots of feedback when you get killed or similar games like that. So you've got hit markers on your little rectangle in the middle when you actually hit somebody, so you know if you hit them. And then as you can see, that massive big pop up then that appears when you get a kill. I've also wanted something to make the combat sort of more rewarding. So there's a way to basically get your opponent to scream at you and get very angry. Or kamikaze kill, where if you're about to die when your screen's flashing red, so when it comes below 25, if you fly into the opponent, they lose score and you gain score. So we can shout you. If you go too far away from the planet, you leave the atmosphere, so you die. That's the stuff you're going too high. You sort of fly off. I don't know if you saw it when I killed Michael, but when you die, you sort of lose thrust, and so that's it, flashing red, and then he just crashes down into the ground, blows up. That's when he respawns. If I show you, I've got the course mode with the same settings as before, but we've also got multiple vehicles. Basically, we had helicopter and jet, but I couldn't get the helicopter to be particularly good on a sphere. It was too hard to kill, so I added another 2 vehicles quickly. So we've got the Juggernaut, which is slow, but very high health, takes off to get killed. The Striker, which is middle ground, sort of fairly manoeuvrable, medium health, cobbery thing. That's the not fantastic helicopter that I showed you. And then the Lancer is very quick but very low health. So this is fourth player. So I'm in the Juggernaut, so I'm very slow. Plus there's no, when I'm boosting, you've got some beautiful field of view stuff that makes it very lovely. And yeah, so this is the, well, I haven't got this controller, but that's the beautiful helicopter. I've got a method you can see, which is a unfinished model. You can tell. It's not moving, it's just the 2 pyramids stuck on each other. That was like fantastic modelling skills. Andrew, who is here, made the Striker, which is the top right player 2. And then the top left and bottom right I blanked out because I was bored of just the 2 vehicles. I did the particle effects, which are basically technically there, but I didn't bother with any designs at that time. It's just point strikes come out of the back of each vehicle. Targeting was added so you can sort of commit these to find each other. And yeah, when you crash, everything's got collisions. When you crash, fantastic particle effect comes in. Just trying to clear. And that's pretty much it, I think. FPS is a bit dodgy this one because I've got too many monsters to do. It's all bad. It's all about 30 most of the time, so yeah. That's all. Any questions?